remediate the stream banks. So with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers kicking in $400,000 to $500,000 into this project, you're looking at 4,000 to 5,000 more feet of stream bank that we would be able to remediate. I don't know the exact particulars and how we would access this money at this time. It's all very preliminary, but I did want to bring this up since we were notified about that a couple of weeks ago.
And through you, Mr. Chairman, or Mr. President, when did this come to our attention that the Corps would be interested in helping with, or there's a possibility that they would be able to produce some more funds for this project?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, we talk to different agencies all the time. We talk to the Army Corps end of June, early July about this project because they were notified by the DEC that they had pledged $250,000 for this project. So they were interested in that because they have a similar project that the DEC does, interested in restoration of habitat for Great Lakes fishery and ecosystems, which is the primary driver of this program. The added benefit is that it preserves parkland in the areas that we're talking about restoring in both Powder Mills and Ellison Park. But that's their primary driver, is the fishery and ecosystem restoration. So, they looked at this as potential to really leverage that state money and provide us with more and really get a lot more bang for the buck.
Thank you very much. And through you, Mr. Chairman, to Mr. Stubb, one more time, if we don't do this project, then that money evaporates, or the potential for that money to be available evaporates.
Through you, Mr. Chairman, without the $250,000 from the DC, I don't have $250,000 in my budget to pledge to this. My budget is strained to the max. So I do not have an extra $250,000 kicking around in my budget to put into this project. This I look at as a gift. The DEC is giving us $250,000 to do this. The Army Corps is now interested in giving us $400,000 to $500,000 more. So to turn this down would be a real shame for the parks, for the fisheries, for the citizens of this community.
Very much. And through you, Mr. President, to Mr. Adair, is there any way that this project can be completed, started in any way, shape, or form in absence of this bonding resolution being passed?
Mr. President, as we've mentioned in previous committee meetings regarding this particular project and others, we are following the recommended practice of our bond council that requires a bonding resolution for every capital project that this county undertakes. At this point in time, we've determined this to be a capital project because of the nature of it, and it is fixing an asset of this community and of this county. And ultimately, that requires us, our practice, recommended by bond council, is to provide a bond resolution. It's extremely important to point out the bond resolution will not be exercised as long as the state and or the Army Corps of Engineers, whoever is providing the funding or the additional funding, provides that to us in a timely fashion. It is only with delay in receipt of that that we would ever consider borrowing on a short-term or a long-term basis for this project.
Thank you very much. And through you, Mr. President, again to Mr. Adair, I was having a discussion with a reporter yesterday after we had our press conference to present this information and demonstrate the tangible results of this irresponsible act. And one of the frustrating things for this reporter was finding a way to be able to articulate this kind of confusing issue to the public in a way that they would be able to grasp the significance of it. It is true, Mr. Adair, that, or is it true, Mr. Adair, that, again, please make it clear, we will not borrow 1 penny towards this project unless the state does not give us the grant money.
Through the President, that is a correct statement.
So, Mr. Adair, is it also correct to say that when we pass this bond resolution tonight, or if we did, you would not go tomorrow and execute this authority and borrow $250,500? Is that correct?
Through the President, that's correct.
And through you, Mr. President, that's consistent with the advice that we've gotten from our bond counsel. Is that not correct?
Through the President, that's correct. Bond Counsel has recommended to us that we issue a bonding resolution for every capital project established by this county because there is no other appropriation mechanism, no other support for the appropriation at this point in time.
Thank you very much. And through you, Mr. President, I know, Mr. Adair, you said in the past that the way that we manage debt in this county does not impact our credit rating with the various credit rating agencies. Is that your opinion, Mr. Adair?
Through the President, that's not my opinion. Well, let me rephrase that. That is my opinion, but it's backed up by the fact that all three rating agencies have gone on record of stating that our debt levels are manageable for this county. Some have considered them to be strong, some of them considered to be average as far as our level of debt that we have. Most of them have identified the fact that there are other entities that impact our ability to bond particular projects or what our debt level is at this point in time. But it's emphatically stated in all three of the rating agencies' reports that Monroe County's debt management, debt level is manageable. They basically state that as a strength of Monroe County finances and have for a number of years at this point in time.
Thank you very much, Mr. Adair. The reason that I'm passionate about this is because we have had to endure, since considering this particular issue, I think misinformation, and I'm sure that people on the other side of the aisle will disagree with me. It is not true, Mr. President, that bonding this way for this project affects our credit rating with the rating agencies. It is not true that it's bad practice for our bond counsel for us to be doing this. It is never wise when we do not like the advice of counsel to go find an attorney that agrees with us, Mr. President. And I understand that it's difficult to message this, as evidenced by the discussion that I had with the reporter yesterday. But what I think that people can understand is that this is the kind of project that should not fail in this chambers for purely partisan reasons. Some people would argue that I know more about partisan politics than anybody else in this chamber. Some will argue that probably for a long time to come. But the fact of the matter is that there's tangible damage. The fact of the matter is that we are stewards of our parks. We have done through this parks debate ad infinitum in these chambers this year. And we need to exercise proper stewardship. We need to do what we have done over and over and over in these chambers. We need to approve this bond resolution at the advice of our council so we can get on with this project. The price we pay for not doing it is more snow time. It's less parkland for people to enjoy in this community. I know I'm going to hear arguments to the contrary. All I'm asking for, Mr. President, tonight, humbly for are 3 votes from the other side of the aisle. We do not need this to fail. We do not need this to fail for partisan reasons. Thank you.
Discussion, Mr. Frost.
Yes, Mr. President. First of all, let me point out that if the media can't understand the issue, perhaps it's because of the press releases that the other side of the aisle continues to put out. When misinformation is presented to the media, it's more difficult for the media to check that information. I am going to quote from the press release that the Republicans put out. Fact or fiction. Opposition by Democrats creates public hazard, threatens environment. Democrats didn't create this. We heard testimony or information from the administration at the July 14th county legislative meeting where what created the issue that we need to stabilize through this project